Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If you are just joining us, welcome into Cave Arena for this neutral site matchup between the Covenant Scots and the visiting LaGrange Panthers. Both these squads coming in today, both these squads will play two. Covenant, this is their last game of the afternoon. LaGrange, their first. They will play Piedmont after this match between the Scots. Scots coming off a win versus Piedmont, a 3-0 straight sweep against the Lions. That they performed rather well, and a couple of big hitters for them, including Mathis, were able to win that one and seal it away for the for the Scots. Welcome in, everybody. Eric Evans in here with you. I'll be joined by my counterpart, Simon Johnstone, here in just a little bit. Simon running a little bit late. Not sure where Simon is, though. Simon, hopefully he is okay wherever he is. But he's not here with us right now. Both squads getting introduced here. We'll do the same on the broadcast. For LaGrange, Meredith Orton. Number 7, Caitlin Gilchrist. Number 8, Zentrina Choice. Number 13, Claire Titus. Number 18, Enna Campbell. Number 23, Ella Kaikina. And number 24, Lucy McCoy, the libero for LaGrange, being Emma Campbell. And for Covenant Scots, number 3, Hannah Mathis. She's a big player in last game. She'll be a big player in this game, presumably. Then you have Anissa Snyder, number 8. Number 12, Callie Sandolph, followed by number 14, Sarah Jennings. Number 18, Scarlett Martz. Number 19, Kelsey Carmen. And number 21, Kennedy Barber, the libero for Covenant, being Sarah Jennings. Everybody handshaking, high-fiving, enters their final huddles as there's Simon. Simon, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here.
Simon joining us a little bit late, but he's here before the action start, and that's what matters. So both these squads preparing for a neutral site matchup. Second match of this tri-match Saturday here in Cave Arena. The Lions will enter the arena momentarily in order to watch some of this competition that's set to unfold. They'll play LaGrange next up. They played Covenant pretty close in the first set and a little bit in the third set, Simon, but unfortunately could not come away with a win in that match.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. The Lions jumped out to an early lead in the first set and then seemingly petered off in terms of momentum. Scots found their footing a little bit later, and well, we know what the Scots can do. They were threatening to win the CCS last year, just fell a little bit short, and with a very experienced roster once again this year, they're likely poised to make a deep run. So the Lions did put up a good effort, but unfortunately just the experience and the cohesiveness that the Scots offer was just a little bit too much in the first matchup of our tri-match.
Covenant feeling loose as they prepare to face off against the Panthers. Panthers in the red and black, and the Scots in the all baby blue. Officials preparing their finals. In the front for LaGrange, it is Kaikina, Titus, as well as, we've got someone, that's Orton, Meredith Orton up there. For the Scots is quite familiar, Hannah Mathis, along with Scarlett Martz and Callie Sandolph.
And Eric, I don't know about you, but the first thing I'm noticing is the height disparity for LaGrange up front and compared to the 6-foot-tall Mathis. We saw that was something that the Lions really couldn't find an answer for, as Mathis walked away with 10-plus kills in the first matchup, so LaGrange is going to have to find answers here.
LaGrange keeping this one up early as they go for their first attacking opportunity. It's popped up once more on the net for the Scots. Very high ball play right now, and a net violation will be called against Covenant, and the first point for LaGrange.
LaGrange is going to have to be very ready for their passing. They did a great job there on the very first point.
Lucy McCoy back to serve. She jumps and serves this one towards the back row. Covenant went for that big hitter. That is, of course, Mathis. Circle her name and put a star next to it. She's going to be a problem all match long. Callie Sandolph for the Scots. Back to serve. Back to the back row once more. Hit up by McCoy. This one put over the net by Kaikina. Soft hits by Covenant, just trying to get LaGrange out of system.
It appears to be a double call against the setter, which the LaGrange coach immediately disagrees with. I didn't personally see the rotation of the ball look different. Traditionally, it's pretty obvious with the double just because you'll see the ball start to spin in almost a clockwise fashion, kind of like a globe. But in that situation, I didn't see it, but the ref usually has a better angle than we do, especially looking at the hands of the setter.
Well, Kaikina is shaking her head. I believe that would be called on her for to make the appeal.
And it's actually going to be awarded as a replay of point, so potentially a bit of a mistake there by the head referee in the early going.
So Sandoff back again, puts it right over the net, and a good job there to keep that up by Kaikina. Just floated right over the net. Covenant preparing the attack. A good attempt there to dig by McCoy, but unfortunately a little bit too hard on the touch as it spins out and will be Covenant's point.
And this is what Covenant wants to do. They want to get in system early, stay aggressive with both down the line and cut attacks. And when Covenant fires like this, especially behind the service line, it's going to be a long, long day for LaGrange.
Gilchrist tried to get a touch on that one, but just was able to flail an arm out as it skidded past her. So Sandoff on a roll, looking for 3 straight. Popped up again into the rafters towards the bench near the water station. And yeah, that's going to be 3 straight points for Covenant. 4-1 early for the Scots.
Kelly Sandoff, 2 service aces early as well. One problem, well, slight issue that they had to deal with against Piedmont a little bit earlier as luck goes their way for ace number 3 was service errors. We're yet to see one in the early going here, but it appears Covenant's not wavered in confidence. They continue to stay aggressive.
Orton and McCoy dove for that one, but I believe they were caught a little off guard as it did catch a big part of that white line on the top of the net. This one, another great dig, however, but it goes towards the desk. And now Reed getting it at the desk. He's got almost hit with that one. He had his head down in his notes. He's got to be heads up down there. Sandoff on a roll. This is first put over the net to Scots. And a little offhand there by McCoy. Setting up for that was Gilchrist, and McCoy kind of jumped right in the middle of it, gotten ruined in that momentum, and that sets up Covenant for another point.
And Eric, one thing we talked about before the start of this match was to see comparably how LaGrange would fare against Covenant. Both LaGrange and Piedmont have fairly similar records heading into this matchup this afternoon, and we kind of felt like it was going to be a little close, but you brought up a good point, which was Covenant's now warmed up. We saw Piedmont jump on them early, maybe Covenant not going as well as they normally would have in the first set, but here they're firing as well as we could have imagined.
And that one just dumped over, and a good attempt by Kaikina to try to dive and slide to get that. But unfortunately for the Panthers, they are now looking at an 8-2 deficit as the run by Sandoff was very dominant, and now you give the ball over to Carmen. Up again, McCoy. Hit by Titus, and that will lead to a point for LaGrange. Good, strong hit by Titus. Maybe got caught off a little bit, but was able to adjust well in the air and get it over.
It almost looked like the block pulled off early there. That's why the open hand ended up on the side of the Scots.
So Titus back to serve. Covenant gets ready to counterattack, and it will be put out. And that's something that happened a lot versus Piedmont. A lot of attacking errors on the Scots side.
Yeah, 100%. Scots have the verticality. They also have the arm strength to keep those attacks in bounds, but sometimes just a little bit of timing issues, whether they're a little early on the attack for it to land short or a little late to sail it deep. Times like that, just again, we saw, are sometimes their biggest Achilles heel for the Scots.
Big hit there, does not pay off for Covenant. That was put out by Delaney Sturm. Having a momentary pause here, LaGrange's coach discussing something with the official.
It appears there's a rotation discussion, whether or not confirming who the server should be and if everyone's lined up in the correct position. Volleyball, like we mentioned in our previous broadcast for Piedmont, it's one of those weird sports where you are supposed to be set up traditionally 1 through 6. If you're a beginner, you kind of just rotate spot by spot, but when you get to a higher level, you kind of do some shifting and hide players behind other players to give serve-receive the best opportunity, as well as giving your attackers an easier motion to get to their actual spot in the court. So once play starts, they're normally able to get to their positions a little bit quicker. So you'll see in the front row sometimes, for example, you have Caitlin Gilchrist there who's going to run across to the side to be able to get to her spot quicker.
Titus with a serve, just putting it over and dumping it right down. That is Gilchrist for LaGrange. As the Panthers continue to try to fight back here, they've suddenly made a run. It's 8-6. LaGrange fires once more. This one out momentarily. Looking to get back into system is Covenant. McCoy sets it up, and putting it down is Orton. Able to brave the block that ball was, and now suddenly it's a 1-point game.
Scots very dominant blocking in their matchup against Piedmont. This time they're a little bit late to these setups. LaGrange doing a great job facilitating their offense.
Tip block there by LaGrange sets up another attack. And Gilchrist continues to be a problem. She's on a roll.
Panthers are just being gritty. They're not winning the beautiful points. They're not going up and slamming that ball down for an easy kill. They're finding the spots that Covenant is not blocking.
Covenant looking to get back in it, and yeah, that'll do it. Put her right down by Mathis, who soared above head and shoulders and plants that one firmly onto the hardwood. So back now is Jennings. McCoy sets. Putting it over here is Orton. Covenant still rallying. McCoy again. Setter. Titus puts it up. That ball's gonna stay up just a little bit more before it kisses the ground. Another great point won by LaGrange as they are keeping pace with the Scots.
Those plays are so tough, both mentally and physically, to deal with. Scott's nearly able to keep that one alive, but then you realize you just expended so much energy for a point that you don't come away with. So Scots need to turn it around, try to get a little bit more in system, let Barber set up to find her attackers.
Off the hands, tipped out, and that'll be Covenant's point, 10-9. And Julia D'Amico rotates in. She gets her first opportunity here, sets high, and just put over well by Choice. Ball on the LaGrange side of the net, but a little bit too aggressive there from number 15, Sturm.
Another disagreement here as the head ref and assistant referee both labeled it as Covenant's point, given that the tip, they're arguing, rolled off of the hands of the Panthers, which would result in a tip call rather than an out call. So both line judges called it out. Both assistant referees called it tip. So there's a bit of a disagreement as to whether or not it's Covenant's point. If I'm not mistaken, I didn't see a tip, which would result in the Panthers' point. It looked like just a little too sharp of an angle by the Covenant Scots to get that one down. It wasn't necessarily needed to go that aggressive. You just had to put it down rather than to the side. And point will be awarded to the Panthers. No tip seen by either of the line judges. And so Panthers now with a bit of a margin.
Yep. 10-11. Or 10-10, excuse me. I looked at the board too early. It said 9-11. Then I looked again and it said 10-10. It's tricking me here, guys.
Keep you on your toes.
Exactly. Gilchrist back to serve. Leaps up and puts it back towards the left corner. Good hit by Covenant. Hard hit by LaGrange. Puts it over without a chance to set it up. Excellent dig. Covenant puts it towards the back half. Good job by LaGrange to continue to put this up. Now they set up. Good block by the Scots, and they win the point. Leaping up was Kaikina, but unfortunately could not put it over for the Panthers. Murphy Boyett also in the game for LaGrange. We have another official dispute here. Okay.
A lot of conversations
Snyder comes in
this afternoon.
So Snyder back to serve. Huge hit from Kaikina, kisses the line. So now all knotted up once again. LaGrange now taking turns playing Covenant very close. Serve by Choice. We got big hit and big in. Boyett. 12-11 now. Choice back again. No arc on that one is going to be put still in play, and a great job by the Scots to recover on that one and turn this into an opportunity. Fantastic job. Titus once more strikes.
LaGrange continuing to put the Scots on their back foot. Like we talked about, they're not really slamming a bunch of kills down. It's more about placement for them, and they've done a great job hitting around the tall blocks of Covenant.
Covenant, a little bit of an error there. Miscommunication. And that leads to another point for LaGrange, and that'll be a timeout. And this very young squad for LaGrange is running wild on the Scots right now and really putting them into a corner. Gilchrist and Titus, both just freshmen, is a very young squad, Simon.
Yeah, 100%. And they're playing fearless. They're playing fearless, but in a very smart way. They know they don't have the height advantage, but they're playing together. They're getting set up extremely well, and that's a credit to Julia D'Amico for the Panthers, who has been facilitating a great job at the setter role. And for all the hitters of the Panthers, they're just getting in the right spots. A big problem for Piedmont is the Scots were able to get into system a lot. The setter didn't really need to move a lot for Covenant, and what resulted in that was a lot of free attacks by the tall hitters in the front row for Covenant. In this situation, the Panthers are putting them on the back foot. They're making either the setter hit the first ball so they're out of system, or they send off a ball deep to make them on a run. So the Panthers are doing a very, very good job of not letting Barber, the setter for the Scots, get set up.
In the timeout here, Zentrina Choice back at the baseline. Choice, very low rising ball, continues that trend of serving, and a good job to dig that one out. LaGrange staying steady, playing tough. Kaikina, another hit and a great dig by Jennings for Covenant. And Choice unable to handle that one, as it will fall all the way to the supply closet. And Covenant gets a point back here for it feels like the first time in years.
Yeah, a big margin out of the gates, but the Panthers have been the ones with the momentum. Maybe the timeout is all they needed, though, to shut that down.
D'Amico set up a little bit too much, and that opened the door for the Scots, but that point's still over. And yeah, on the other side of the court was Boyett. Good call there by the referee.
That's such a gut-wrenching call, too, because you make a great defensive play to keep the point alive, but your body momentum just carries across the center line.
Good serve by the Scots. Kaikina gets put down, smacked down. Mathis continues to be an issue. On both ends of the ball. Scarlett Martz back to serve. Put up immediately. Kaikina setting up for Titus. Titus, huge hit. That's another point. Man, Titus is really coming into her own on that left side.
She's getting extremely active on the outside, and one thing she's doing a great job of is she's actually running a quicker set than a traditional four ball, and what that allows her to do is not let Mathis get outside for a double block. That opens up that cross angle and allows Titus a one-on-one opportunity against the right side blocker.
Meredith Olson as well as McCoy in the game for LaGrange. Covenant hit way up in the air. McCoy, big set. Kaikina soaring in the air. Good block. Ball still active. And an untouchable attempt by Orton to try to fly over there. But it was a good job by the Panthers to try to rally that one. But the Scots sometimes are just undeniable. So now all knotted up at 15, and getting the ball here is Sandoff. She went on that incredible run. McCoy. Titus again. Hit on net, I believe.
Yeah, Titus, a beautiful attack, but her arm carried through after the spike right into the net. So clear and easy net violation call for both the head and assistant referee.
Sandoff, a beautiful serve.
She produced
this is what Covenant wanted. They wanted Sandoff back there again.
I was just going to say, she produced some magic the first time with 4 service aces and make it number 5 now in just the first set for her.
Touches net as McCoy runs over to serve, or set rather, and gets it to Titus. Excellent dig by Jennings. Stiss getting that one over. Yeah, a little bit of a too tough a touch there. Just trying their best to keep that ball in the air, and we'll have another timeout here as Covenant has regained the momentum.
Covenant trailed at the timeout by a sizable margin. All of a sudden, now they jump ahead by 3. This is what Covenant does. They come out of these breaks, and they just start firing like they weren't ever down. It feels like they had the lead the whole time just because they jump on this momentum and they don't take their foot off the gas until you forcibly remove it. So the Panthers are going to have to try and figure out some answers here, Eric, just because they're attacking well, but they're losing these small and easy points when there's just a slight error due to the height advantage Covenant has.
It feels like they're winning the hard points, like you said, and they're losing the easy ones. Sometimes you're maybe a little bit too big built for the moment, because you got to follow the fundamentals. Both teams, hang on, not exit the huddle just yet. Thought that LaGrange and Covenant were going to exit the huddle at the same time, but a little bit of words from the assistant coach for LaGrange. Long meeting by the Panthers, getting every second out of this timeout that they can. And they certainly do like that. They like having that big strategy meeting. Isabella Zinkovic is in for the Panthers, been in for the past couples, but just getting to mention her name here. Sandoff. Popped up again. Good job by McCoy to keep it over and get it to Titus. Sandoff tried to just loop it over, but unfortunately touched right into the net for Covenant.
Super low percentage shot choice selection there. Personally, I would have just rolled that deep, try to get either the libero or the defensive specialist out of position and force the setter to come off the setter spot, but instead tries to go for, in other words, a drop shot.
Kakina sets under it. Good put over by Gilchrist. Fantastic hit from Carmen. As they're trading blows back and forth, and Carmen gets caught off foot, didn't know where that ball was going to land, and gifts LaGrange a point.
A rare moment of miscommunication there between Barber and Carmen there, as it was technically Barber's ball to get. She yelled go, telling Carmen, that's your ball now, I can't get to it in time. But the Scots just couldn't really find the answer to that.
LaGrange unable to keep that momentum going, as it will go right back towards Covenant. Lenny Sturms in the game. Coming out here is Anissa Snyder. And Scots rotate here. Carmen back to serve. Touch by Gilchrist, just rolls off her hands. It gets dumped behind her. It'll be a point for Covenant as they continue to roll, now at 3 points ahead of LaGrange. Back once more, Carmen. Looper just going to touch baseline, or rather the line, and just, man, you got to be able to cover that.
That's a beautiful serve there. I mean, you don't really cover that spot because the ability to pull that off is actually pretty, it's a very difficult shot to make. And traditionally hitting a float serve like that, it'll normally sail on you trying to hit it with touch, or it'll drop not even to the net. So great feel there by Carmen.
Good hit. Covenant keeping it up, though. There's Carmen just trying to dump it over. Tried to kick save there, but no dice. Or excuse me, not Carmen on that. That was Sturm. Sandoff keeps it up. And a call against Covenant as they're letting the little mistakes now hit them.
Looked like the pony may have just caressed the net there. Tough set to make, and just a little too tight.
Huge hit by Sturm. Scarlett Martz comes in. Mathis out, and we'll have a timeout here, and we'll step away here at the booth watching LaGrange and Covenant Volleyball on YouTube. Welcome back to the Cave. Back to serve here is Sarah Jennings. Covenant 3 points away from icing this one. And Jennings sails it over the baseline. That's something that's played Covenant all day long. LaGrange gets a couple of rotations here. Boyett comes in, as well as it looks like D'Amico. Sandoff keeps it up, and LaGrange wins another. Oh, excuse me. Covenant got that one.
It would have been LaGrange's point, but too far of a press on the net results in a blocking error for the Panthers.
So 23-20. Good job to keep that one up. Now D'Amico flies in. Choice just trying to get it over. Excellent dig. Point still valid. Kaikina over to Miko. Choice punches over. Good shot by Carmen. Flying up and trying to execute that is Sturm, but it hits the top of the line. LaGrange wins another. Tightly, closely contested here in the first set. Just 2 points separating both squads. Gilchrist back to serve. And good job to receive that one. Sandoff just trying to float it over. D'Amico sets, no, dump set. Just trying to push it towards that back corner. Flawlessly executed.
And I don't want to harsh too much on LaGrange. They've done a fantastic job staying within this set, but that's a decision by D'Amico I do not agree with. You had the set in your hands. You could have found an attacker who had been playing, both of them have been playing fantastic so far in this first set, but instead you set the ball over, let Covenant get into their setup, and well, as you can see, it's set point now for the Scots.
Snyder delivering that one. Akina to Jennings. Jennings pops it up once more. Just going for a little float. Good, excellent save by D'Amico. Tipping, and it is Covenant set. And good job by the Scots to rally back. They've regained all their momentum that LaGrange pushed up against them. And Simon, maybe something similar we saw to the Lions and the Scots in set number one. Maybe the Scots just have to figure things out a little bit and see what they're playing with, but ultimately they come away with a victory.
Yeah, 100%. Scots seemingly had a learning curve in the first set. Panthers came out very strong and initially were able to rally back after the Scots went back on a run. They kept it tight throughout the first, so it was a good initial set by the Panthers, but Scots just continue to produce magic on their front row with their kills and their sheer aggressiveness. Barber has done a fantastic job herself as the setter, finding so many different options, not really overusing Mathis, but using her when needed. And on the other end, a big thing that I like, and I don't think they adjusted particularly because of this reason, but the Panthers are running a 6-2, which is a two-setter setup. What allows that is for three hitters to be up front, and with their setters being a little bit on the shorter side, a little bit more Napoleon-sized, that allows them to have a chance to get up and block some of those tall Covenant Scots.
We will step away and rejoin you here in about 2 minutes for the beginning of the second set. Welcome back to the Cave Arena between LaGrange and Covenant. Eric Edmondson alongside Simon Johnstone.
For a second, I thought you were handing it off like a presentation I'd do in class.
I just had to, yeah. maybe it was giving your own introduction there. But we return for the second set. Covenant taking the first one, maybe a little bit closer than they would have liked. But LaGrange, very tough, very scrappy.
Yeah, LaGrange did a really, really good job finding out these, as we described a little bit earlier, tough points. They're winning these longer rallies, the points where they get either a deflection or they find a deep spot that Covenant wasn't able to cover in time. And on the other end, well, Covenant's just been, any other way to describe it, that just clinical. They've put away the points they need to put away. A few errors here and there, but their biggest benefit has been their serving. Absolutely. Over 5 service aces in just one set.
Yeah, and that's something we wouldn't have said last game because it seemed like they were struggling with a little bit of the service errors and attacking errors in general. So we'll see if that problem rears its head here. Good dig. Akina completely overshoots. A little bit too aggressive on that one. Everyone knew that was sailing.
Set a little bit behind her and unable to pronate enough to get that ball the top spin necessary, so just a flat ball sailing.
Martz's serve over to McCoy.
Net violation against the Scots on the block. I actually thought it was the opposite and thought LaGrange finished onto the net, but the assistant referee is going to call that a net violation against Covenant.
All right, so back to serve here is Kakina. Excellent hit. Heads up, August. August, you got to get that one, man. Come on, lay out for that one. Almost got us up here. Davis Barlow actually there to recover it. It was a good hit by Sandoff, who's now back to serve. A crime of convenience there as Mathis just sees the ball floating towards her, wastes no time, and leaps into the air.
As a front row player back in my playing days, I'll tell you, that is the best ball to see come over because it's basically, hey, do you want to just hit a ball really hard and aggressively? Go on, go for it.
McCoy sets up. Sandoff for Covenant, able to keep it. And a beautiful set and hit by the Scots as now they are really rolling. Carmen executed with that kill. Sandoff, just a little bit of a touch floater, and now LaGrange's coach calling for a baseline violation there. Big hit, and another big point for Carmen. And now it seems like that same trend is going on that happened in the match with Piedmont, where the Covenant Scots come out a little bit slow, but now are really coming in their own here in set number 2.
It's almost like an adjustment period for the Scots, try to figure out what the weaknesses are, maybe the holes they can attack into the Panthers' defense here. And they closed out the first set in a little bit tighter fashion than we saw against Piedmont, but in this second set early going, it's been all Scots, and I love to bless the Scots with a commentator's curse there as that one dumps into the net.
LaGrange was making sure that Sandoff was not crossing baseline there. She wasn't. And she's awarded another serve. That one goes towards LaGrange, though. Titus with the serve here. Carmen, another hit. McCoy able to just shove it over. Snyder. Mathis, a rare error by Mathis. I believe she just wanted to float that one over, but just did not get enough on that.
Yeah, personally, I've never understood the short tips just because you already have a block up front, so I'm a big fan of tipping it deep. It's usually putting somebody on the run, which is typically a benefit.
Excellent save. Snyder keeping it loose. Barber. Carmen. An excellent dig again by Kaikina. And no one able to get there as LaGrange puts it right in the middle of everybody and touches the campfire. And there you go, winning those long, tough rallies. That's what LaGrange is built for. So now 5-4, Titus serves, Jennings on the reception. Barber over, now Sandoff taking the turn. McCoy to choice, Titus jumps in. Touched by Covenant, but they're able to keep it up on the block, and a miss hit by Barber is saved. She'll be thanking Sandoff for that one later. Barber able to keep it in air. Mathis, a short tip. McCoy dumps it over. Sandoff keeps it in. And the short touch from number 12, Olivia Dusterdiek, does not put it over.
And for those longtime volleyball fans, a new rule was established, which may have led to some head scratching. You'd be joined with me doing that, as 1 year ago we'd have called that touch by the setter for Covenant a double, but they actually now allow double touches within limit. So because that ball slipped through its hands, it's technically still not a double touch. It's now a little bit more of a subjective rule.
I was about to say, so within limit, that's pure official discretion.
100%.
Okay.
Which removes a little bit more definitive of laws and rules in the game of volleyball, but I know setters kind of breathed a sigh of relief when it came to that.
That will hit the judge on top, and that will be Covenant's point. Coming back to serve once more. The Scots have really excelled at serving in this match so far. They've gotten a lot of their points off it, and they went on that incredible run from Sandoff in the first set. Carmen puts it over. Kaikina just able to get a hand on that one. And now you're starting to see LaGrange, they're just trying to keep that ball up and make chances for themselves, but it's not so much as a controlled reception.
Yeah, LaGrange not in system as much as they'd like to be, but that's mostly a credit to Covenant serving. They're doing a really good job finding their spots throughout this match.
Carmen floats it over. McCoy sets backwards and able to recover the Panthers as Choice dumps it over. Barber, big hit by Mathis. Nobody's home. She is having a fantastic day for the Scots and will be a big problem for the rest of the year. So 9-4. Carmen back to serve again. McCoy. Good job by Kaikina. Here's Barber. Barber actually sets towards the right side with Sturm. Out. As this run continues to go towards Scott's way. Carmen waiting for the official. Now she's ready to go. Excellent dig by LaGrange. Barber over to Mathis. Mathis hits it. Jennings puts it up, gives everyone a little bit of time. Better move there. Big hit by Sturm. Choice and blocked by Mathis.
Mathis poses such a problem for any attacker across the net. It's just a difficult thing to deal with because her wingspan, her height above the net, how much clearance she has with her arms, it's something you really need to work around. If you try and go directly through her or go quicker than her, you're not going to win that battle. So as an opposing middle, you need to try and go on these short, quick angles. But if Mathis guesses correctly, it's going to be a long day.
Yep. Carmen a little bit too aggressive, tried something different, tried to tuck it into the back corner there, but just overshot it. So LaGrange gets their first serve in a while. 11-5. Good job by Barbara to set up Mathis. Mathis just pushes it over. Choice dumps it. Excellent dig by Jennings. And Kaikina tries to keep it up, but another point will be awarded to the Scots as Sturm will be credited with that.
And that's why I love the deep tip. I've been trying to vocalize it as much as possible because, as you saw there, it puts them on the back foot, makes someone have to get on the run, and if you find the right corner at the right time, it can result in a point like that.
Jennings, excellent serve, good reception as well as that one's put down. Boyett, a little bit too much on that one, and now LaGrange has fallen far behind Covenant, similarly to what we saw versus Piedmont, where they started to run away with the set. We'll take a break here for the rest of this timeout. You're watching Volleyball on Piedmont Lions Athletics on YouTube. Back at it at the cave. LaGrange coming out of the huddle. Covenant ready to go. Covenant has kept the vibes high. They've been very loose all day long. This is nothing to them, man. They're playing at the apex of their abilities, and doesn't even look like they're breaking a sweat.
It's a good day to be a Scots fan. That's to say the least. They've did their job against Piedmont, and now they have a strong lead in the second set against LaGrange.
3 scramble dig there for Covenant, could not get it. And now LaGrange starts off out of the timeout with a point. Martenstein comes in to serve for the Panthers. We have another discussion with the judge up top. Martenstein dribbles and prepares her serve. Sandoff, beautiful set executed. D'Amico just slaps it over. Sandoff, big set, big hit, and a big point. Sturm once again. And that's another dangerous thing about this Scots squad. Mathis is not even on the court right now, and she has big hitters to replace her. 14-6. That one just dumped over. On the blocking end, March just throws up the hands and puts it directly down. 15-6. Sandoff sends it over. D'Amico. Kaikina. Jennings able to set it up. LaGrange still rallying. Choice goes for that short touch and it works. Dipped right in between the blockers and the net. That was a great move and a great decision by Choice.
I was going to say, great wherewithal there to do that. It was a great choice, if you will, because she delayed the tip until the setter or the blocker started coming down, and that allowed for that block to fall back off the net, and that's why it fell on the side of Covenant.
D'Amico able to stay off the net, and that sets up Martz for a hit here. Point still rallying, and now Covenant asking for an appeal here because something wasn't right with that, Simon.
Yeah, what happened there was the Panthers had an attack. It hit off the net tape. No contact by the Scots. Didn't even get over the net. Panthers kept the ball alive, sent it over, and the rule is you can only have 3 touches on the ball before it has to go to the other side. So there is a violation of 4 touches, and that's what the Scots captain is demanding and trying to confer and persuade the ref that that's what they saw. I saw that as well. Everyone on the Scots stopped playing. You may have seen that on the broadcast because you could tell it was 4 touches. The head ref, as we can overhear the captain for Covenant saying that she didn't see that. She saw a touch by the Scots instead. So both assistant referee and head referee are saying that they didn't see, or they saw contact, by the light blue jerseys of the Scots, as they now bring in the line judges to see if they may have noticed a touch. Personally, I didn't think it was close. I myself was a bit taken aback by
it was
lack of a whistle.
It was pretty obvious. I mean, both teams kind of pulled back from that. I mean, credit to LaGrange. I mean, they're not playing the official. I mean, they're playing the other team. They got the point out of that. You know, if the officials come away with the same decision, then LaGrange is going to be the benefactor of that. So, I mean, credit to that team.
They did call 4 touches. Okay.
Yeah. So Sturm rotating out. It'll be Snyder in, and now the LaGrange head coach asking for an explanation here. (16-7). Snyder puts it over. Good serve. Taking on a reception. D'Amico on a set. Titus puts it over. Sandoff. D'Amico pops it well in the air, maybe a little bit too much, gives Titus a chance, and Titus wins. And now we have another 4 challenge, and yeah, there it is. Called correctly that time without too much of a delay. So now a 10-point lead for Covenant, and timeout called by LaGrange. We'll take a timeout here at the broadcast table as well. Scots up big as we continue the second set here at the Cave. Welcome back to the Cave. Snyder back for another serve. Hits net, and a little caught off guard there were the Panthers. Excellent dive there by Emma Campbell. An excellent dig. But unfortunately for her, Boyett was not ready to receive that one. So another point credited to Covenant. That one sails. It seems like the Scots do that. Like, they'll go on maybe a 5-point run or so, and then they'll just say, I wonder if I can hit the baseline. And just try to hit it as hard as they can towards that area.
It's one of those things that as a player, your brain's like, why not? Let's experiment. Like we saw Scaniers in the match before go for jump serves, which we haven't seen her do since a year prior. So impulsivity is always a thing with athletes, and as a coach, you sometimes just want to bang your head against a wall because you're up big for a reason. We should keep doing what works.
Gilchrist able to put it over. Sandoff. First again. This one put into the net. Unfortunate for Martenstein. Now 19-8 as the Scots march closer to that 25 mark. Martz. McCoy. Titus. Good job by McCoy to get that one back up. Mathis back in. Campbell. McCoy again. Kaikina flies up to the air and executes a perfect kill despite a diving Snyder. Now moves to a 10-point deficit once more. Kaikina back to serve. Sandoff just trying to keep it in and is able to. Man, that was magnificent. Putting it down is Mathis. Brilliance from the best player on the Scots team as she continues to be phenomenal. 20-9. Mathis again. It's not like she's putting any effort in. It's like, oh, the ball's coming to me? Okay, here we go. Time for the big hit.
Get up, put it down. Simple as that.
Yep. Sandoff. McCoy. Scott's able to keep that in. Good job by Carmen to put it over and disrupt the system a little bit. Barber to Mathis. That connection has worked all day long. It continues to work here against LaGrange.
And running that slide is such an effective strategy because what that does is it actually pulls the blockers farther out than where they normally set up, and that's why you could actually see the block drifting there on the net.
That one put directly into the net by Sandoff, or excuse me, by Barber. Don't usually see that. Titus will sub out with Madeline Orton. Big hit and a big block. Carmen denied access as LaGrange looks to rally back here a little bit. Orton. Barber takes that one back. Yeah. Tried to get away with that one.
So what the ruling is there is they're calling a reach over on the setter, but now it's actually going to be called as a replay. It almost looks like the ref wanted to agree with the LaGrange coach. They're going to call for a replay and get the play right back underway. The traditional rule with that typical call is almost always for a setter. It's when they try and keep the ball from going over to the other side, and it is in their right to do that if they're not making an aggressive play. It's typically a violation if it's on the other end of the spectrum where an attacker's going up and actually reaches over the net before the ball crosses to their side of the court. So that's why that call had to be changed and changed to a replay of point, because the Barber tried to keep the ball back into play for the Scots rather than make an offensive play towards the Panthers side.
Carmen. And a good job by McCoy to just avoid that one. Wait, no, it went towards Covenant's way. They make a touch on it?
According to the line judge, it found the spot.
Wait.
As we said last broadcast, sometimes it's better to be lucky than to be good.
Good dig attempt there by Orton. And we'll have the third set coming up soon. 25-11. LaGrange falling in that one. Scott's taking it, and now we're up big 2-0 in sets. We'll join you for the third set here in a couple minutes. You're watching LaGrange and Covenant Scots Volleyball on Piedmont Lions Athletic on YouTube. Welcome back to the Cave. Covenant and LaGrange entering the third set. And Simon, we got some stats in front of us showing that, Covenant's been in a good bit of control of this game.
Yeah, 100%. The biggest thing that stands out to me is simply the total attacks. It's a 16 attack margin when we looked at the stats, the final stats between Covenant and the Scots. It was only a gap of 6. So that just means Covenant's getting into their spots or allowing their hitters to formulate genuine attacks, and what that leads to is, well, more kills for it is a gap of 16, sorry. Scots have 25 kills to the Panthers 10, with a lot less attacking errors as well. So they've been a lot more clinical. Panthers on average are hitting in the negatives for hitting percentage, which basically means they have more errors than they do kills. It's a bit of a tough situation for the Panthers, but like we've seen, they win these gritty points. So if they can just simplify their game plan a little bit, win some free points like that, given some unforced errors by the Scots, they're well within nabbing at least a set here to extend it to a fourth.
Absolutely. D'Amico back for a serve. Snyder pops that up. Snyder still up. Barber for Carmen. And that's out. Oh no, they're going to call that a tip. So it was initially ruled out. I was just looking in the wrong area.
The refs are keeping us on our toes today.
Yeah, no kidding. Jennings out. Here's Mathis. D'Amico, well out of system, goes to Choice. Choice able to disrupt some things. And Sandoff kind of looked down at her palms like they're not supposed to do that. Why did that happen? I do that a bunch.
The power completely died on contact. That was actually pretty impressive to have just nothing come off the ball.
Kaikina. D'Amico. Big hit by Gilchrist. Good dig by Jennings. Carmen. So now all tied up 2-2. Just touched baseline. I initially thought it was a good call by LaGrange to let that one fly out, but line judge saw something that we didn't. Sandoff. Snyder. Now Barber setting up Mathis. It seems like every time Mathis comes up, it's going to be a point.
Yeah,
there's
Mathis,
little contention against her.
Mathis, 9 kills after 2 sets. That's kill number 10 for her. We just know what she can do up front. She also has 3 blocks herself, so she's just been an absolute force in the middle position.
Sandoff, and that one flies out, so it'll be a serve for Choice and the Panthers. Jennings, Barber. Sandoff, that one definitely sails over past the paint area. So now all tied up again. The Scots letting LaGrange hang around a little bit. Choice sends that to Snyder. Snyder able to keep it up. Here's Carmen. Carmen just easily floats it over, and the point's still alive. And winning that is Gilchrist and the Panthers. That was a great dig by LaGrange to keep that point up.
Panthers doing exactly what we touched on, which is now winning some clinical points. They've had to fight for the majority of the points that they won in the first 2 sets, but now they're starting to win the points where they're getting systematically in position and able to put down some kills.
Choice able to power that one over. Mathis again in a rare, had hit line, or tip rather, excuse me. So Mathis again stays perfect. And Sturm's gonna come in for Snyder. We'll rotate. Carmen back for the serve. D'Amico keeping it up. Titus just puts it over, but she did make contact with the post.
That would have been an extremely acrobatic play to keep that one alive.
I thought for a second they pulled it off. Sandoff. Big spot for Sturm, and Sturm a little too aggressive on that one. And that's something that we've mentioned that is now beginning to rear its head here for Covenant. The Scots have a lot of attacking errors. They're very prone to it.
Could be some hints of fatigue as well. I mean, granted, they're in set number 6 straight. They had a little bit of a 30-minute break between this matchup and their one against Piedmont, but that's a lot of volleyball, especially for their attackers. It's a lot of jumps. So your legs start to get a little tired. That's why a lot of their attacks are going deep. It's because they're not elevating enough to get on top of that ball. So Scots need to get a little bit mental fortitude here, try and just close this one out in straights before the fatigue really starts to set in.
Good move by Barber just to put it over. Gilchrist and Jennings and Carmen collide to try to dig that one out, but it will fall to the court and award LaGrange another point as they've sneakily taken the lead here. 8-6. They're on a good run of serves, and that continues. Barber, Sturm able to get them to tip it off the block. LaGrange setting up an outside hit, and once again, LaGrange able to get one to fall their way as the blocking at the net falters for the Scots. Now, Covenant for the first time maybe trying to get some artificial momentum on their side as the bench begins to pound on the floor. Big by Sturm. Mathis is right there. Just can't let her stay unoccupied for more than a few minutes. As she is so explosive, she's willing to do that at any point in time.
And that's the threat Covenant poses when they get in system. LaGrange, to gain this advantage, has done a great job keeping them out of it, but once Barber gets into spot and Mathis has a chance to go middle, it's almost lights out every time for the Scots.
Titus in a fantastic tip over. And that will be called for Covenant. Good job by Barber to take advantage of that. So now the Scots beginning to rally back a little bit here as soon as they get the ball towards them. Back to serve is Jennings. Kakina able to keep it, still without play. Miranda as well as Gilchrist come collide on that one. And yeah, a little bit of miscommunication leads to a point for Covenant. So now 9-9. Jennings. That's put out. So here's the run that the Scots were waiting for. Somewhere where you can at least get what you need in the ball in your court. You get your advantage, and now they're playing fully into it.
And the nice thing about volleyball is when the other team's on a run, they're serving to you. You have the first opportunity to try and shut it down, but with some effective serving like the Scots are doing, specifically Jennings with her jump float, it almost feels like you're conceding that advantage initially.
Carmen Barber able to put it over. Big hit and a big block, but it goes right into the net for the Scots, and now LaGrange missed the ball here. Back and serve is Martenstein. Well out. Knotted up again. Simon looks like this is going to come down to the wire as every time either side gets momentum, something gets thrown in the road.
Yeah, it's just not taking advantage of when you have the lead and doing the simple things correctly. Too many service errors on both sides early going.
Huge. Fantastic hit, and LaGrange has shown that they're quite explosive. If you let them hang around for too long, they're gonna bite you. Titus sends one right into the net. They're not without their flaws. It's a young team, as we've mentioned, but if they're this young and they're playing like this now, that worries you for the future if you're the rest of the conference.
Yeah, it's always inspiration. I mean, coming in with such a young class and producing what they're doing against an experienced Covenant squad, this is good signs if you're a Panthers fans for sure.
Carmen puts it over, buys some time for everybody to get back in motion. Huge block, ball still over, and it's out. There was a lot of waiting on that one. That ball counter spun at least 3 times before it eventually made its final destination. That's a hard thing to do, to contend with a spin, because it makes tracking the ball so much harder. Snyder, good serve. Sends LaGrange scrambling. Carmen, good job to keep it over. Maybe a little bit too tough than what she wanted. And a huge hit by LaGrange keeps the ball up, does Covenant. Carmen able to put it over. Another set and another huge hit by LaGrange, this one by Boyett. The Panthers showing why they're very dangerous as they have battled Covenant to within 1 point once more.
They've hung within to the middle set of all 3 of these, and then this has been the make or break moment for the Panthers. Scots, this is where they start to heat up a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see if the trend continues here.
Barber, long set over to Carmen. D'Amico, Kakina, Jennings, an excellent dig. Carmen, floater tip, and that's going to kiss hardwood. Now 14-12. Well up. Choice. Opposite just put it over. Huge hit. And that'll bounce off the roof. And that will be a Covenant ball. Didn't know the exact ruling on that if that happens.
Sorry?
I didn't know the exact ruling on that if that happens.
Yeah, so if it hits off any permanent fixture but stays on your side, so had that pass stayed on the side of LaGrange, the point would have continued, but because it traveled across the net after hitting a permanent fixture, the point's considered dead. Another way to consider the point dead is if Mathis gets a free ball and able to put that one down right down the middle.
Yep. Now the Covenant Scots beginning to pull away a little bit. They've built a 4-point rally. We'll take a break up here. You're watching LaGrange and Covenant Volleyball on Piedmont Athletics on YouTube. Welcome back to the Cave. LaGrange and Covenant battling it out. 16-12 as Martz is back to serve. Kakina keeping it up. Barber. Carmen, huge hit. And that's in. Now a 5-point lead for the Scots. Choice. D'Amico sets. No, dump sets. Catches everybody by surprise. That ball's still up, and that's going to turn into a point for LaGrange.
Very, very smart move there by D'Amico in order to just get the Scots off the wrong foot. They haven't done it a lot, which is why it was such an effective choice there.
And she faded it perfectly. Had everyone in the arena fooled. And Keena back to serve. Barber, a huge hit by Mathis, but it's able to stay up enough for the Scots to admire it properly. 18-13. Sandoff back there. Snyder back in rotation. And Sandoff sails one. Don't usually see that out of her. Titus marches back onto the court. Choice gets net with that serve. Mathis blocked. Carmen. D'Amico. And just misread that one, did Orton. And she looked to dump it over, but just got a misread on the ball and went right into her own side of the net. Kaikina did not mean to touch it. Did not mean to at all. It would have sailed out. Carmen bailed out by LaGrange there.
And just simple court awareness there is the difference between shutting down this run and extending it for the Scots, letting them close in on some match points.
Yep, 5 points away now, 20-14. As this one's just knuckled over. Titus, and the double hit works. Rather be good than luck, or rather be lucky than good, right? LaGrange gets away with that one. Miranda back to serve. Barber. Mathis set up perfectly. This one's skied. Miranda on the set. Gilchrist trying to get it over, and she does. Sturm, Jennings racing for this one, and that will turn into a point for the Panthers. So now they're chasing back. They're down 4 now.
Showing some signs of life late in the third set are the Panthers. Good defense rather up front with the blocking, and it's tough to shut down the Scots, but they've been doing a good job here in the last couple points.
Miranda. Big hit. Jennings sets it up. Barber, second set. Back line and coming up a standoff. That'll get put down again. Mathis sent down to the floor. A rare time we see that. So now LaGrange has completely shifted momentum here. Another serve here by the Panthers. Able to get that one over. Mathis, huge hit, but a good job by Kaikina to keep it up. Gilchrist, Jennings. Sturm puts it over, and that is going to turn into a Covenant point. It was a good attempt by Boyett to try to keep that up. And we'll have a timeout here. Simon, as the Scots are closing in, or it looked like the Scots were closing in, looking to put this one away. LaGrange has really fought back here and showed a lot of tenacity.
Yeah, LaGrange has done a great job, specifically just being aggressive, putting their front foot out there first. Scots are most comfortable when they're in position, when they have Barber barely moving. I mean, they do a great job passing to the setter spot, and when the Scots find themselves there, it's very hard to shut them down. What the Panthers have done that have put them off of that are these cheeky short angle attacks, these deep sets, the fake set like we saw earlier in that. Those are the plays you need to make if you're the Panthers, because 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to win a joust battle. You're probably not going to win the block versus attack battle, just due to the advantage that the Scots have across the net. But the Panthers continue to stay gritty, continue to just keep themselves in these points, and that's why they're within 4 now in the third set.
All right, everybody ready to go after the timeout. I believe LaGrange still has both of theirs. Scott's serve, that's by Jennings. Gilchrist sets up, that one's blocked, popped up once more. Miranda. And that'll touch hardwood. Boyett making sure the Panthers don't go down easy.
And if you're a Lions fan, biding your time until the Panthers inevitably match up against the Lions just at the conclusion of this match, I think we're in for a bit of a dogfight, Eric.
Absolutely, and the Lions have had, they got home court advantage. They had a rest, right? So they're going to come in a little bit more fresh than the Panthers, who have battled the Scots very well thus far and expended a lot of energy to do so. And again, we noted the height disparity between both squads. Well, the Lions still have a little bit more height than the Panthers do. So that's definitely going to be exploited here, as that one is not as well hit as Zenkovic would have liked, as it's now 2 points away from a 3-set sweep for Covenant. Jennings, good dig. Able to keep it over as Barber. That sets up a pretty good opportunity for the Scots for the moment, though, but able to capitalize on it is LaGrange.
Little late to cover there from both outside and right side hitters, and a smart tip there by Titus gets a free point for the Panthers.
Huge hit by Marks, but a better dig and a better reception by Titus. Choice and Kaikina flew up there, but both are going to be denied, as Covenant now within a point. Rotation as Sturm is out and Snyder is in, looking to close this one out for the Scots. Ball's up and it sails. Snyder has not been good from the serving department in this match. as another one flies on her watch. So D'Amico and the Panthers staying alive is 24-20. Snyder, Barber, Carmen, huge hit, and that ball's down, and the Scots complete the sweep. Covenant, a very well-oiled machine, but give credit to the Panthers. They fought tooth and nail to keep really all three of these sets close. Maybe not as close in the second set, but they still had a dog in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, they broke 20 twice in 3 sets against Covenant, and that sets them up for a dog fight, or rather a cat fight, with a Lion and a Panther coming up very soon in roughly 30 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So stay tuned for that matchup once again inside of Cave Arena for our final match of our 3-match slate this afternoon.
Hope you join us for that, but if you don't, thank you for joining us for this one. For Daniel Percival, our incredible sports communications crew down there on the table, Mr. Joseph Garwood and Davis Barlow, Simon Johnstone and August Goddard next to me. I'm Eric Amundsen signing off for this broadcast and my broadcast day. Simon, have a good call next game, sir. I will be listening. All right. Final score from this one, 25-20. Covenant takes it. And do we say go Lions here?
We can say go Lions.
We can say go Lions.
It's our broadcast network.
Lions are coming up next. Hopefully they can pull one out. Grant Prather's going to be on the call with Simon Johnstone. We'll see you then. And as always, go Lions.